So I'd just like to start off by saying that it was really refreshing to go watch this after sitting through three of the shittiest zombie movies that I've ever seen. So the film that I've just gone and seen this weekend was Ant-Man. And this movie follows a guy named Scott Lang, who is an ex-thief that's just gotten out of prison. And he discovers that he's caught the attention of this older rich man named Hank Pym, who is the original Ant-Man. And what Hank wants to do is to sort of train Scott to become the new Ant-Man because he needs his skills to help him with something. He tells him that he has the chance to redeem himself now, that you're done breaking into places and stealing shit, Scott, so now I'm gonna need you to break into a place and steal some shit for me, okay? And yeah, I just stole that joke straight from the movie, but I'm not ashamed of it. And before you get all technical with me, I expect someone in the comments right now is gonna be like, actually it was Scott who said that he was done breaking into places and stealing shit, FYI. I know that. Praise logic. So, anyway, like most people, I would have really liked to see how this movie would have turned out if Edgar Wright had stayed on as a director. I mean, in 2013, The World's End was one of my top three favorite movies that year. Back in 2010, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World was my number one, so it is kind of a shame that he left this movie, and for those of you who don't know by now, the only reason he did was because the studio wanted him to include little nods to some of the other films in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and he didn't agree with that because it didn't match the vision that he had for the movie. And honestly, the nods don't do anything to hurt the film. In fact, they kind of make it more fun, and last time I checked, having fun at the movies isn't a bad thing. Uh, you know, One thing that I liked about it was how, a lot of people, when it comes to some of the more recent Marvel sequels, they keep asking, well, why doesn't this guy just call on the Avengers? It'll make things a lot easier. Somebody actually brings that up in this movie, and they give a valid reason for not bringing the Avengers into it. I mean, uh, Scott Lang is still saving the world in this movie, but instead of going up against an army of aliens or fire breathing mutants, he's only going after this one guy. Although, for the record, unlike most recent Marvel films, this isn't really much of an action movie. Mostly it's just a superhero origin story. You do spend a good chunk just seeing Scott Lang on this road to becoming Ant-Man, but it's still really entertaining. And once it gets into the final act, that's where it becomes an action movie, and it really does pay off. And along the way, you get a lot of comedy in this movie, and it feels a little over the top, to be honest. Like, a lot of the characters in this felt like someone straight out of a Seth Rogen film, but still, that's not a bad thing. I'm a fan of Seth Rogen, and the comedy made me laugh, so last time I checked, laughter isn't a bad thing. So, that's not even a nitpick. The only problem that I did have with this film, though, was regarding the villain. Um, I will say he is serviceable as a bad guy, and when he and Ant-Man are facing off at the end of the movie, it is really fun to watch. And to the actor's credit, he seemed to be having a good time playing the Yellow Jacket, but as far as his character went, he just felt by the numbers, and there really wasn't anything about him that made him stand out among the rest of, Marvel's bad guys. Um, and, just like I'm sure everyone expects, Michael Douglas was the best actor in this movie. Even feels like I'm starting to lose my voice. Even as an older man, it was easy to buy him as this sort of badass character who had been places and done things, for lack of a better term. So, yeah, in the end, Ant-Man was a really fun movie. It's not necessarily the best movie, Again, you're not going to get that much action out of it, but it was worth my time and I would recommend it. Anyway, that's all I've got to say about Ant-Man. I hope y'all have a good one.